What is your earliest memory, Adam, of the type of OCD that you have, or that would grip your life?
It was my only memory from the age of 5. I had no other thoughts other than these severe, what I now know to be mental health problems, but they took over my life. It was almost mental torture.
At 5 years old?
Oh yeah, the earliest memories, absolutely. From being in school. Initially it was attachment issues with my parents. My parents would drop me off at school. And I felt I had an obligation or a responsibility to protect my parents, that they wouldn't get knocked over on the way back from school. So you start to invent, it felt natural to invent rituals, compulsions, which we know as OCD, to alleviate the anxiety. But of course, anxiety is a very disloyal friend when it comes to OCD. Reassurance of anxiety is a very disloyal friend when it comes to dealing with OCD, because it's like a drug. You need to have more reassurance to make yourself feel better.
So when you say you develop little rituals, you're 5 years old and you were worried about your parents could get killed or knocked over. So what kind of rituals were you conjuring up?
Oh, I mean, at the time they feel very rational. Because, you know, as humans, when we're scared and we have anxiety, we want to find a way to alleviate that anxiety. So I would find something that just would make me feel better, whether it was touching the light switches, whether it was looking under my bed, anything that would alleviate this awful stress, this internal.
Didn't you have something with clouds? You used to have to have certain formations.
Yeah, I mean, those were the early days. So in order to protect my family, I felt that, you know, if I saw a cloud in the sky, I'd have to make sure that my friends had seen the cloud as well. It was bizarre, but to OCD sufferers, it feels very. We know it's not rational, but
do you have to go through any sort of ritual coming into the studio today? Is there no anxiety for that?
No.
But doctor, from your point of view, you see, we're listening to this. This is extreme. This is scary, and this developed, and his little rituals that he had eventually didn't work anymore. Right? They wore off for him. But for the rest of us, OCD is lining your soup cans up in a row, or making sure everything in your pencil box is absolutely perfect. Have you heard of this before?
Yes, I have. It is a severe form of OCD that he suffered with, but I think it's a condition that everybody can relate to in some way. Like you said, having the cans all turned the same way, or even not walking under a ladder, or saluting if we see a magpie. We can all relate to it, but it becomes OCD when it's at the point that it's affecting somebody's quality of life, and it becomes a medical condition when either there are physical implications of that, so for example washing your hands so much that you give yourself dermatitis, or avoiding medical situations because of the fear of...
But Adam, how does that lead to thoughts of murder? That is some leap.
It's really important to stipulate that anybody with severe OCD, they are never going to carry out these actions. No one ever does. It's a worry problem. But at the time, you don't know it's a worry problem. And my thoughts started from, like I said, when I was young, attachment issues, but they grew into something far more sinister as I got older, because it attaches to something that we're very vulnerable about and that we care about.
So your wife, Alyssa, you did tell her eventually, because you kind of kept this to yourself, these thoughts.
Yeah.
So how did this present itself, though, Adam? You know, would you be in the house and suddenly think, I just feel like I want to put my hands around her neck, or
no, I mean,
push her out down the stairs? What do you mean you wanted to kill her?
Everybody has thoughts. Everybody has thoughts. The difference being with OCD is you think those thoughts are very, very real and that you're going to carry those out. So I would avoid what I call the triggers. So the triggers to stop these thoughts from happening. So my problem was, or my issue was, that I thought I was going to harm vulnerable people, or the people closest to me. Maybe my children, maybe my wife, maybe my grandparents. So I would avoid knives. I got to the point where I used to walk around with handcuffs in my pocket, because if I felt I was going to have an urge to strangle somebody, at least I could shout someone to put handcuffs on me.
And you carried those around?
Oh yeah, for like 4 years, from like 15.
Did your wife ever worry? Because once you told her about this, and she's been very supportive and helped you get the help you needed, was she ever worried about you being around the children? As much as she loves you and she understands that everyone says you won't carry this out, did she ever worry that you might? She was
very understanding. She was incredible. I mean, once she understood what I was suffering from, she did a lot of research herself, and she soon came to know that people with OCD are not a danger at all. They're actually some of the most caring people.
But so there are a number of things under the umbrella of what Adam is talking about, and he has a foundation, and he has this book called Pulling the Trigger: OCD, Anxiety, Panic Attacks and Related Depression. So under this umbrella, you're talking about anxiety, you're talking about depression, you're talking about panic attacks. as well. So there is some sort of connection, or there can be, with all of these things.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the symptoms of OCD actually can lead to the anxiety that Adam spoke about and can lead to depression. I think one of the things to pick up on that Adam said that is really important is there is a distinct difference between OCD and psychosis and conditions like schizophrenia. In OCD, it isn't that you're hearing voices, there are no hallucinations, they are just thoughts that are coming up in your mind, and as Adam said, people don't carry out harmful
But Adam, what are you
acts.
hoping to do with your foundation and with your book? You're a successful businessman. You know, in spite of what you've been through, you know, you've coped, you've made a success of yourself, you've held your family life together and whatever. What are you trying to pass on to other people?
Well, it got to the point where I wanted to give something back. I felt like I had to have a purpose after I sold my company. And the only way I could do that was to set up my foundation, the Assure My Foundation, which is a global charity. And we want to help people. And we don't want to be just a charity that talks, we want to make things happen. I mean, one of the things that we've just launched last week was the petition to make mental health education compulsory in all UK schools. It's absolutely fundamental. I can't believe it's not in place in the first place. If reading, writing is in place, biology is in place, physical education, why is mental health education not?
But you see, the very
What would you do if your football-loving husband suddenly announced that he wanted to become your wife? This is after 8 years of marriage. Now, that's exactly what happened just before Christmas to our next guest. This is Arian and Cara Cohen. And they say, since then, they have never been happier. It's very good to see you both. Very good to see you both. So, Arian, you'd been married to Cara, formerly James.
Yeah.
So let's start with formerly James. For how many years?
8 years married.
8 years
and we've
married.
been together about 9 years.
So very happy marriage.
Yes.
All was good. You didn't have any inkling then at all that James at that time was feeling like this, that he wanted to become a woman.
No, I always knew there was something though, didn't I?
Yeah.
I always knew there was something, and we always had an honest, open relationship, but I didn't know what it was. You didn't know what it was. But there was always something there. Looking back now, being completely honest, there probably was many, many signs, but maybe we weren't ready to.
Cara, when you say you didn't know what it was, did you, and you just couldn't vocalise it, or you genuinely just thought, I just feel different, I don't know why?
Yeah, I kind of had an inkling, and I sort of knew when I tried to try and work out what it was, but it was very difficult to understand.
Yeah.
So eventually I did kind of get my head round it, and here I am.
So did it just come out, or did you say, I'm going to tell her on this specific night?
No, it kind of built up over a couple of days. It was getting harder for me to keep it a secret and to keep to myself. And yeah, it just happened.
It was messing around with the kids, wasn't it?
Yeah,
to start with.
Yeah, talking to the kids, and they were saying girls are better than boys, and
And that's how it came out.
And they were saying, oh, girls are better than boys, girls are better than boys. And you went, yeah. And then they said, you want to be a girl, don't you, Daddy? And James said, yes, I do.
Funny you should say that.
So at that point, people might be thinking, oh, you would go, ha, ha, ha. But actually you then realised that this was the serious conversation we're then going to have.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there. You then went to the doctors, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to speak to the GP
I didn't
about
know
it.
about that, and then it was...
But what about speaking to Arian? That's the conversation. That's the big conversation. The woman who you married, the woman who you had children with, how was she going to take it? Indeed, how did she take this news? I mean, what you must have thought, it's like a proposal almost, isn't it? What am I going to say? How am I going to say it?
Yeah, obviously I was very nervous when it was in my head, and it was going round in my head, and round and round and round. I couldn't think of anything else. And eventually it just came out.
Literally blurted out.
Yeah, I didn't plan it or anything, I just had to release it.
OK, what was the reaction?
I think my exact words were, OK. What exactly does that mean? I just wanted clarification of exactly what was going on here, and, you know, to think about the future, what was going to happen.
Did you think straight away about your children, your girls?
I was in shock. I was just in complete shock. I couldn't think. I couldn't. I just sat there and I just it's okay. It's going to be okay.
So when you said it's
One of the things you
okay-
did, of course, was to find out if it was going to be okay. You went to the internet, you went to social media, you did a lot of
did.
sources. What did you find out there?
Do you know, I really, really wanted to find people who were going through what I was, people who could understand, but all I found was, I found a lot of support out there for families of under 19s, for transgenders, but not the families of adults. And also I found from other wives of transgender people, what I found was that they were just full of bitterness, anger and hate. And I found it really sad, and I couldn't, I guess I couldn't, I just couldn't relate to that, and it upset me reading the stories, and I really want to let people know that it doesn't have to be like that. If you're carrying all that, because if you're carrying that anger, it's not going to change anything.
But can you
it's just going to
understand
affect
that
you.
anger? I mean, we have interviewed wives
completely
before who've been through this, who say it made them feel that their marriage had maybe been a sham, or that it wasn't the marriage that they thought they had.
Yeah.
Did you feel that at any point?
Completely, yes, of course. But I had to remind myself, and I completely understand why people feel that way, don't get me wrong, but carrying around anger and bitterness, it affects you. So I had to keep reminding myself that it wasn't dishonesty against me, it was
Against
not having the
yourself,
realisation.
really.
It was all this social conditioning from 35
What about
years.
the children, Cara? Your girls?
Well, they seem to be... they've noticed that I'm a lot happier, obviously, because if you're keeping a secret, it's very difficult to be happy within yourself and with others. So eventually when I did come out and I was being more honest with myself and with people, they noticed the change instantly.
So you were pursuing a career in journalism and you got pregnant, and it was a shock.
Yeah, it was totally.
How long have you guys been
unexpected.
together?
About 3 months from the first date.
You said you were still struggling to pronounce her surname.
I'm not sure I knew her surname at that point.
So needless to say, baby arrives and both of you instantly fall in love with the gorgeous little baby Jasmine. And your views of being a mother at that point, you didn't go in thinking, I'm going to be this breastfeeding mother that's going to feed for 5 years. You actually bought formula. You took it.
Oh yeah, I thought, because I was quite a young, naive mum, I thought you needed formula milk, so I'd stocked up on formula, different food and dummies and bottles and stuff, and sterilising kits for the baby.
So no plan whatsoever. And also breastfeeding, when it came to it, was not easy. I mean, people say it's the most natural thing in the world, but a lot of mothers find it really hard, you included.
Oh yeah, they're like these little aliens and squirming around like an octopus. So yeah, it didn't come naturally at all, but luckily I had really good support.
Yeah. You've been very open about your own mental health issues, battles with depression and anxiety and eating disorders and things like that. Did you feel that breastfeeding grounded you a little?
Yeah, I found it wasn't the plan, but I found, because I've spoken out on my blog and vlog about mental health, I actually found that breastfeeding really anchored me.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time I can kind of zone out and I'll be in my own little episode and whatnot. But when I'm feeding my baby or now my children, it actually anchors me a lot more, and I can have some quality time with them and focus on them.
How old are the girls now, and how much feeding do you do?
So I've got a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and the 2-year-old probably feeds kind of 8 to 10 times a day and night, and then Jasmine just feeds on a night time to get to sleep mainly.
Okay, and so the way this affects you as a couple, which is where we've sort of started this conversation, is that because you are feeding through the night, you're in separate bedrooms.
Yeah, I think you quite like it because you get your own bed, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, we have a bedroom, and it depends on the girls, really. Sometimes they'll go down quite easily, and, you know, for example, if Sophie's not there and I'm at home alone, they go to sleep fine without without breast milk. Obviously, I'm not feeding them.
No. So they are okay. So
You'd definitely be on for an interview then.
So they're not totally reliant on you to go to sleep. It's not like it's a crutch that they need, because when you're there on your own, they are perfectly fine.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And do they sleep through the night when she's not there? Do they go through and not wake up?
Yeah, no, they're absolutely fine. They're absolutely fine. It's just, I think it's more by association now.
Right.
That this, whenever Sophie's with them, it's almost like they're drawn to them.
Yeah.
So are you doing this for them, or are you doing this for you?
It's definitely for them. Like, at the moment, I get so tired because I'm doing all my work with my blog and vlog, and then also feeding them. It's like today, I just wanted to have a bit of time, you know, to prepare and come in here, but instead, Ariana's grabbing at my top and whatnot. So a lot of people have said online especially, oh, you're doing it for yourself. But I think as all breastfeeding mothers and mothers formula feeding know, that we're just doing what's best for our babies and kids, and we just go along with whatever.
But I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's 5 years old, and there is something that, you know, it happens in people's heads, and you think 5 years old, you know, school.
Yeah.
How does this fit in? And at what point do you think, okay, that's fine, now's the time to wean?
Well, I think from the start of my breastfeeding journey, everyone's saying, when are you going to stop, when you're going to stop? But the more I've read up on it and the more I've researched it, biologically, as mammals, we feed from 1 to 7 years old until they get their molar teeth, and that's when they can't latch on. So I actually think it's more bizarre that we drink cow's milk, calf's breast milk as adults than it is that my child
It's definitely
feeds.
what we're used to, isn't it? And particularly in this country as well. I mean, you don't need to go that far to look at other countries around the world, and it's perfectly normal. And in fact, this item in itself would seem ridiculous that we'd be just talking about breastfeeding, really.
Yeah, look, well, I've got family in Southeast Asia, and when we went last Christmas and I was openly feeding them both, it was like, hallelujah, and everyone just came up to you, and it was a celebration. It was like really like,
do you wish it was like that here?
Yeah, I don't need everyone coming up to me.
No, understandable, but not to be judged, I guess.
Well, yeah, just because I think sometimes we just accept the societal norm, and actually, like, I've not done this to make a point. I've just gone in my private life what's needed for my children.
Yeah.
And what about you, Chris? Then you've seen the criticism, you've seen the reaction. It does hurt, doesn't it?
I mean, my take on it is, it really is, I feel sorry for mothers. Whatever choice they make, they're judged. So whether you choose to breastfeed or even not to breastfeed from birth or to whatever age, you're judged either way, and it's almost like a battle you can't win. I mean, my perspective is you do what's right for your family and whatever's right for your kids and for everyone involved. And you know, as you guys know, you know, you do what's best for the people that you care about, and it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks.
Yeah.
It's not important as long as everybody in that circle's happy and you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Now, when an 8-year-old Amber Owen was taken on a holiday of a lifetime to Thailand back in 2004, she had no idea that she would be caught up in one of the deadliest natural disasters the world has ever known.
And on the beaches of Phuket, when the tsunami hit, Amber owes her life to a very unlikely hero. And she joins us now to tell us more. And this really is an incredible story. And you were 8 years old at the time. This is a once-in-a-lifetime holiday for you and your family. You're staying at the Sheraton Hotel right on the beach. And the Sheraton Hotel had 2 very special residents, which, as an 8-year-old girl, you fell in love with. Who were they?
Ning Nong and Yum Yum were the elephants' names. Especially Ning Nong, though.
And you had a very special bond, didn't you, you two?
Definitely.
And a reciprocated bond as well. This wasn't just a child that fell in love with an elephant. Out of all the children that were there, he gave special attention to you.
No, yeah, he'd always, like, grab my hand and pick me out of all the rest.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so what was the morning routine? What would you do?
Well, they'd come into the hotel, but we'd eat breakfast, and we'd always play with them. All the children would play with the elephants. So we'd, like, feed them bananas, ride them, just generally play with them. And then we'd go onto the beach. Some days we'd go into the sea, ride them down the beach.
So this was not out of the ordinary on this day, on Boxing Day on 2004. And of course, we know what happened on that day. But on that morning, you went out, regular routine, to go and feed the elephants and go for a walk on the beach.
Yeah, so that morning we just went down the same, like nothing changed. exactly the same.
And what happened? What was the looking back on it now, the first moment actually that something could be wrong came from the elephant?
Yeah, so I was riding the elephant on the beach just as normal, and the sea was really far back, and the mahout was there as well. He was collecting all the fish that got left behind.
So he's like a trainer, the elephant trainer, the mahout, yeah.
He was left all the fish were left behind on the sand, so he was picking up all the fish. And then the elephant, Ning Nong, kept had an instinct to kind of go off the beach.
Because he was trying to bring him back, wasn't he? He was sort of like bring him back, and the elephant just wanted to go.
Yeah, he
just
wanted
did
to
not
get
want
off
to
the
be
beach.
there.
Yeah, kept pulling away to walk off the beach.
And you believe that is an instinct that in some way, and we'll never know why or if it was true or what actually happened, but you believe that he knew something.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how, but just the way he was pulling away to get off the beach.
So what happened next?
The water just came flooding in. At the time, I didn't know what tsunami was because I was only 8. But the water just came flooding in, and the elephant ran off the beach, and the mahout was running as well. And then it took me to high safety. So I got up a high kind of stage where I got put, and the elephant had to run off the higher land. But then I found my mum.
So you'd felt the quake, hadn't you?
Yeah, we felt the earthquake in the morning, but we just didn't think anything of it.
And so the elephant with the water rising and right up high, terrifying, and you can see other people suffering around you.
I know.
The elephant got you to a wall.
It was it was like a high safety where I could stand on the top, where it was higher than the water.
So you were on the elephant's back, and then you could climb off the elephant's back onto the concrete wall.
That's it.
So that the elephant took you to somewhere that you could be safe.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is the incredible part of the story, because after that, there were 3 waves that day.
Yes, that's right.
And the first wave, the one that you were caught up in, and then the water went down a little bit. It didn't recede as it had before, but went down. And then the first of the huge waves came in, and by which stage your mum had rushed down, seen you at the end of the beach, and managed to get you to safety.
Yeah.
Where did you go? You went back into the hotel?
Yeah, the hotel, everyone had to go into the hotel lobby to be registered and make sure everyone was safe, because it was the safest part.
And then the next wave came.
Yeah.
You were higher up.
We
at
were
that
up
stage.
high, yeah.
And so you could see it all happening outside your window.
Yeah, I didn't get to see any of it because they wanted me to be protected from it.
Quite right
Yes,
too.
I'm not
Quite right
surprised.
too.
I'm not surprised. So you were there for a few days, and then eventually you were able to fly home, and then sort of it sinks in what happens. And your mum, she believes that you're here because of this elephant, and she continues to show her gratitude by giving money to the sanctuary, doesn't she?
Yeah, she gives money to the elephant owners.
Do you have any idea what happened to the elephant?
I've always tried to look up online and find out where he is. I know he's still alive.
He is still alive.
He is definitely still
Yes,
alive.
still alive.
You're sure about that?
Wow.
Yeah, because I've read hotel reviews and people have been elephant at the hotel.
So do you think still at that hotel?
I don't think he's there anymore. I think he's gone to work now, or I'm not sure where.
So, have you ever felt that you wanted to find him and go and see him again?
I've always wanted to know where he is, but I just think it's going to be so difficult to find.
Yeah, to track him down. Well, this story, your story, has inspired a Warhorse novelist to write your story as his next story, which has now become a theatre show as well.
Yeah.
So Michael Morpurgo, who wrote Warhorse, this is being seen as the sequel, he wrote the novel Running Wild in 2009, which you didn't really know was based on your story.
No.
And then now it's been turned into a theatre play.
Yeah.
And it's based on you.
I know, it's just so amazing.
And now it's at the Regent's Park Open Air Theatre, which is a fabulous place to go and see any play. It's just beautiful, especially if you get a nice evening. That's until June the 12th. And you're going on Friday, aren't you?
Yes, I'm going to.
And you're going to meet Michael Morpurgo?
Yeah, I'm going to meet him there.
How will you feel watching that?
I just think it'll be amazing how someone's taken such a nice story, made it into a play.
Well, out of all of that horror and the loss of so many lives, it's lovely to hear one sort of tiny positive story and that amazing effect on your life that one elephant had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you. Thank you very much.
Hello YouTube. For more of the same, just click here, and don't forget you can subscribe for even more of these amazing videos exclusive to our channel.
And also, in other cultures, They have rites of passage, which sort of celebrate your self-development. And I think in the UK, a lot of people choose not to marry or marry a lot later. And we don't really have anything to sort of celebrate that development. So I just think it's a really nice way. Also, I do think it's a bit of a statement on, you know, there's quite a stigma around being single still.
You've suffered from several sort of wide-ranging mental health conditions, and the first one happened when you were about 16, and then this began with anorexia. So what was the trigger for that?
I would say my anorexia was a whole range of issues, really. Probably like the stress of school and everything, with exams, and then like just being around like friends who, you know, would kind of like everyone just wanted to like look slim. It was kind of like the thing in at the time, and yeah, it was just really reinforcing whenever people were saying, oh, you look like you've lost a bit of weight, and then it just really went into a downward spiral where I was just always obsessing over weighing myself, and the more the scales went down, it was just like really, and then that just became my life. My whole life was stripped from me. Like, I stopped socialising. It was just, that was just it.
Well, at just the age of 17, you attempted suicide. As we said, you were sectioned for the first time. As you said, your life was beginning to fall apart. And then, so you fought through the anorexia, and then that developed into trichotillomania, which is the plucking out of hair. And then that moved into the realms of the makeup, didn't it? How did that begin to manifest itself?
Well, I struggled really bad with acne as well for like about over 10 years. So I was putting on makeup to kind of like hide from that. Yeah, a mask.
So what, I mean, what are we talking about here? Because lots of people put makeup on in the morning to make themselves look nice, but this was very extreme. So your routine, I guess, of putting on makeup, because you had to be at work by 6, so what time did you wake up?
Yeah, like literally I was up at 4, and if my like acne was even worse, like it could have been 3:45. Like, it's absolutely absurd looking back on now that I was just spending an hour and a half on my face, but that was just my routine. Like, I didn't even bat an eyelid at it. But like, it really infuriated me, like, that I was wasting all this time putting makeup on, but like, it's just what I felt I had to do.
Very heavy fake tan as well.
Yeah, if tanorexia is a thing, like, I had that because.
And also, it got to the point where you weren't even taking it off. Then it wasn't making a difference to your skin whether or not you take your makeup on, take makeup off, or leave it on. So you were sleeping in your makeup, sort of sometimes patching it up a little bit the next day.
Yeah. Because it was a whole big regime to take it off as well, and like putting creams on, and like, just honestly, like, it was such a waste of all that time, you know. And I felt so unworthy and disgusting without it. Like, I would have avoided mirrors without makeup on.
And
like,
your boyfriend at the time, he didn't see you without makeup on?
No. Like, well, if he did, like, I would have been like literally hiding my face. Like, it's so embarrassing to think of, you know.
And for you personally as well, at this time, your depression peaked around this time, and again you attempted to take your own life, and you asked to be sectioned the first time, which you did, and you were released from that, and the treatment, the combination of sort of being at home, and it wasn't working. It just wasn't working. It was getting a lot worse for you, and it was the third attempt at your own life 4 months later that you were then sectioned again, this time against your will, but you needed to. And this was the big turnaround point for you, wasn't it? So what happened that time that was different?
Well, after being released, because I was only in hospital then in November last year for 2 weeks, and I didn't, like, I was sectioned because I knew it wasn't the right place for me. I was going into a mixed ward. Like, I hadn't left the house in, you know, months. I didn't want to be around people. Like, I knew, like, I needed to be like away and like to get myself better. So like, I was finally released, and able to like work on myself, and like then I started blogging like in March this year, when I finally like felt like ready like to go out and face the world again. And like, I literally did like hide away for months. Like,
so
I couldn't speak to anyone.
What got you there then? Is it a light bulb moment? Was it a slow burn where you began to feel comfortable in your own skin and confident with yourself?
Yeah, I suppose because like I wasn't like going out, like I just wasn't putting makeup on then, and like working on me and like figuring out who I was, what I wanted to do with my life. I just sort of felt like more value. I knew who I was, like finally, like I had like a purpose, and like
with blogging and everything, like I felt
Is
like
that
I
what you
just
needed?
had this
You needed a purpose?
Yeah, like I just never knew how I was. Like the thought of someone asking me, "Who are you? What do you want to do with your life?" Like I literally would have had heart palpitations. You know, yeah. I think it's a thing a lot of people struggle with. You know,
There isn't a diagnosis for a makeup addiction because that forms a much bigger picture, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You said trichotillomania, so hair pulling, for people who don't know. That actually falls into the OCD spectrum. Body dysmorphic disorder, again, kind of a subcategory of OCD. So not classic, but nonetheless has lots of similarities.
Yeah.
I imagine when you were talking then that you suffered from really high anxiety as well, just the way you were describing it. So even though we couldn't say that she had an absolute diagnosis in one area, you fall into several categories, don't you? From eating disorders to high anxiety, OCD, BDD, all of those areas. The most important thing, Philip, is what you noted then, which is that idea of purpose, finding a place where you could have the cathartic experience. Because we talked earlier on, so I was really excited and interested to listen to your recovery, and one of the things you were talking about actually was the fact that you didn't really get any therapy. You actually had to do all the work yourself. So to some degree it's incredible that you've managed to be free of your eating disorder and all these other associated disorders for quite a long time. What would you say has been the major thing that's changed that direction for you? Because for me that's what's really compelling about your story.
Yeah, I suppose I've always been like very self-motivated, but like, well, gratitude, I'd say like I just started writing like down like 3 things every day that was like positive, and like making a gratitude journal, and just like really, yeah, like just focusing on the positive. Like I always say, like positive mental attitude will get you everywhere.
Before George, there'd been, I think, 8 failed rounds. 9 failed rounds of IVF. And that's about £45,000 of your savings. What was life like during that time?
Just really hard. I just didn't have any holidays. Didn't have to sell a car to have IVF. Just really, 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 really tough.
You were so desperate to be a mum, weren't you?
Oh yeah. Just all my friends knew how desperate I was. Just constantly wanted to have a baby.
Yeah, and so obviously, like Phil said, £45,000 money that you didn't have. You ended up going on Deal or No Deal to try to win some money to put it into the pot.
Yeah, it was in 2008, and we went on out to get some money for IVF. And that's when George watched our show because he was a big fan of Deal or No Deal. Rang in the next day when it had been aired to say that he wanted to donate some money to us, but I didn't know anything about it. I knew the next day.
This was
but
really
it was
high
anonymous.
up, wasn't it, at the channel, so nobody below knew who it was.
So when I got the call, I asked because I wanted to know who it was, and they just said we can't tell you, but you can if you want to write a letter to say thank you, then you can, and then that's what I did. I wrote a letter. Didn't think I was writing a letter to George Michael at the time.
No, exactly. Goodness me. So the money that you got from him enabled you to have another round of IVF, but more importantly, enabled you to have lots of tests done.
Yeah, because when I was having some treatment at the time, they said that I might have immune problems, so I might not be able to carry a child anyway, and my body might be killing the embryos off because I had 9 lots of IVF and never actually got pregnant.
And it did prove that,
yes, I'd got some immune problems, so that on my next lot of IVF, which would have been March this year, we was looking to have another treatment in March this year, we would have used the test that I paid with George Michael's money to have my next round of IVF.
Right.
Well, it's an immense strain on any relationship, something like that, and so you're not with that partner anymore, and then along comes your childhood friend Nathan.
Yeah.
And begin to think, right, okay, well, it would be nice. It would be nice if we could do it. And what happened then?
We just had IVF in August last year, and it failed. So we didn't tell anybody. But like I said, we just had treatment, and then obviously I fell pregnant at Christmas completely naturally.
And completely naturally. I mean, to the shock of all the doctors and anyone that had given you any treatment.
Yeah, I went to the doctor. I didn't take a test until I was 8 weeks pregnant because I was so scared of actually seeing. And if I'd have bought a pregnancy test, half of me would have been thinking I'm actually pregnant here.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do. A friend of mine had said, I think you're pregnant. You need to take a test.
Well, you think you're over the worst of it though, and actually the pregnancy was stressful, and you had a condition that added complications, didn't it?
Yes, I've got 2 uterus. It's called uterus diadelphys, where you've got double womb, double cervix, double vagina.
Right, which you didn't realise, which
I
may
didn't
have been
realise.
part of the issue in the first place also.
Yeah, I didn't realise until I'd had 3 lots of IVF, and then my consultant found it. So I had a little operation done in September of 2015. But when I actually got pregnant, I was so scared because Seth was growing in my left uterus, which is only half a uterus.
Oh, gosh.
So I had, I was under the impression that I was probably going to have a miscarriage early on, and definitely later on I was...
As they said, you know, you're really not entirely sure that this is going to work.
Yeah, well, the consultants have said to me that I might only carry to 28, 32 week, but I actually carried to 39 week, and I actually got induced as well.
Oh, my gosh.
When you got in the taxi, having been told, we don't think this is going to happen for you, what was playing on the radio in the taxi?
Well, what had happened was I was about 16 weeks pregnant at the time, and we had gone to the hospital because I had a bit of a scare, and I'd started to spot, and I thought, oh God, I'm gonna lose this baby. And all my friends have said since he's been born as well, gosh, I can't believe he's here. We actually thought you were going to lose him. We didn't think you'd get to the end of your pregnancy. And then we got in the car and turned the radio on, and I was really upset. The doctor had just said to me, everything's fine, and I was spotting. They thought I was spotting from my other uterus because they thought that my uterus was confused because there's a baby in one and
the
nothing
other side,
in the other.
yeah.
So my body knows I'm pregnant, but there's no baby in this uterus.
Yeah.
So we got in the car after the consultant said everything's fine, put the radio on, and George Michael was on the radio, literally playing as we turned the radio up, and it was got our face.
And this is Seth George Hunt. Who arrived on the 3rd of September.
Oh, my goodness me. Hello, welcome, welcome. Nice to meet you too.
Hi, Nathan.
But, oh, my goodness me, look at him. Oh, he's so tiny. How much did he weigh when he was born?
He was 7'10".
Good size.
And because I'm breastfeeding, he dropped to 7'1".
Yeah.
And then he's just picked back up to 7'13", so he's just above his birth weight.
Well done, you.
How did you find out, finally, that it was George?
It was Richard Osman that tweeted something on his Twitter account that he'd given money to, and it was Christmas Day when he tweeted it, and then he'd given money to a lady who'd been on Deal on it. All right. And then I had reporters literally just at my house the next day.
And can you believe he's here when you hold him now?
No, it's I watch Friends, don't I? And I watch Friends holding him, and I think, oh, he's lovely, and then I think, and they pass him back to me, and I think, oh, he's mine.
Oh, you've waited a long time for him, and he's gorgeous. Well done, both of you.
What a miracle.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
He's looking for food.
I know.
But I know what you've got.
So lovely to
Oh,
meet
he's
you all.
adorable. Gorgeous, gorgeous.
Thank you.
Well done, well done, well done.
Despite paying thousands of pounds in fees, her mother was left shaken and bruised, prompting an investigation into her care. Teresa joins us now alongside former care worker turned campaigner Eileen Chubb, and welcome, both of you. So your mum suffers from vascular dementia, and it was beginning to affect your health, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And so you were advised to put her into a home.
Yeah.
How did you find it? How did you pick it?
Okay, well, my daughters and I got together as a family, and we thought, the professionals have told us that Mum really needs a home now, that I'm not trained for this, I can't do that. So we got onto social services, who gave us a number of some care homes. So we called them and went to look round probably about 5 homes. But this particular one we really liked. We thought it was big, airy, spacious for my mum, because although she has dementia, she's very physical. She's still physical, which she's quite sprightly. So she needed space to walk around and be able to go into the gardens and know that she's safe.
Well,
So
it sounds like you did, as a family, all the right things that you could possibly have done. And it wasn't long, because it was in the June that you got recommended to put her into care. And then it was only in the September that this first incident occurred. So what happened?
Okay, I was called on a Wednesday morning to say that an incident had happened.
This is the care home manager that called?
Yes, the care home manager called me to say an incident had happened, but very light-hearted. She was laughing, joking, saying, don't worry about it, but Mum's got some slight bruising. We had to shower her because she needed a shower. And I did think, well, as much as my mum's got this terrible dementia, hygiene wasn't an issue with my mum. It's something she's very proud of and can do herself, but with encouragement and help, like with you there, in case she doesn't fall, but not to physically shower her.
So this is, as you say, a light-hearted phone call. You then go in and see your mum, and what confronts you, and what story are you told?
Okay, so I thought it was strange, as I just said. So Thursday morning, I went straight to the home as early as I could get there to hear some awful noises in my mum's room, thinking, oh my goodness, who's in there? I opened the door and it was just my mum walking up and down, crying, looking absolutely like 100 years old, absolutely distraught, a great big jumper all over her. And I said, she just like went into my arms and I held her tight, and she lifted up her jumper, and then I saw all those bruises.
I mean, they are not...
And that's not light-hearted to joke about. That was
a real shock.
A real shock.
And there was a real kind of discrepancy in what had actually happened, wasn't there? Because your mum was saying one thing and the care home was saying, oh, she needed to get in the shower, and your mum was saying that wasn't what happened at all.
No, and the manager told me a completely different story that I didn't think rung true to what my mum would do. And I asked a few other carers that I trust in there that I knew would tell me if mum had done what they had said, and they said absolutely not. They had not seen my mum do any of that. They couldn't understand why she needed a shower, and that's still what I don't understand till this day, why she actually physically needed a shower when she's a clean lady.
And then there was another incident on the 5th of October.
Yes.
What happened then?
I went to the home on the Thursday morning to find my mum again, very distressed in her room in another big jumper. She was crying. I asked her what was wrong, and she said, oh, I went out yesterday on my own, and I went to the bus stop and somebody dragged me off the bus because they wouldn't let me get on the bus. So I was thinking, oh, you know, okay. So I said, well, you know, take your jumper off, it's so hot. And she was like, no, no, no. So finally, and then she lifted up her left arm to find it all bruising again.
And
so
this time the home hadn't told you anything, had they? They hadn't even rung you to say there'd been a light incident?
Absolutely not. So I called in a carer and I said, could somebody explain how this bruising has occurred on my mum's arms? And everybody was like, no, we haven't even seen them. So I'm like, well, you got my mum up this morning for breakfast to help her get dressed, and you've not seen these bruises? And they're like, no, we haven't seen them.
Well, their statement, the care home statement, which we can't name because this is all part of a police investigation. The allegations relating to the 2 incidents of bruising are currently being investigated by the police, and at this time of the statement, they've yet to reach a conclusion of their investigation. Care home is a well-regarded care facility with a dedicated team of staff. Whilst we regret this isolated incident, the senior management team have been in touch with the family on a weekly basis, and the manager will remain on leave from her duties until the investigation is complete. We continue to offer the resident care and support to ensure the best outcomes for her current and future care. In a reply to the second incident, the resident was not discovered outside in the street. She was seen to have followed visitors out of the building, which staff observed. We joined the resident for a short walk and brought her back to the home.
No, she wasn't your birth mother. You were adopted, weren't you?
Yes.
And this from a teenage mum who couldn't keep you.
Yeah.
So Barbara was your adoptive mother. When did this abuse start? I mean, was she unkind and cruel from the very beginning? Can you remember when it started?
I would imagine, well, there were pictures of me as a baby. She loved babies. But once she stopped being a baby, it was kind of different, and there were no more photographs really from then on. Not many at all. There were lots of baby pictures. I remember how I felt, and I remember how I felt as a child, because you only know what you know. If you're in a situation as a young person where all you have known is cruelty and abuse, and it's not constant. She didn't wake up every day and do this. This was just a sort of mood of the house that we were in. And
when you say we, how many children?
There was another boy called William who was also fostered and adopted. But what's really interesting about this is that when I was literally taken from the arms of my birth mother, who was 15, the social worker promised her that I was going to a loving family who desperately wanted a little girl. But the family I'd gone to was already under the spotlight for the abuse and neglect and cruelty of William, another child. So
you were put into
I was put in a dangerous situation from the off.
So what kind of things? We talked there about bathing you in ice. What about feeding you, generally looking after you?
Well, it was erratic. Also, it's important to say that she was ill. She was mentally ill, and she was self-medicating. I think the drugs at the time for housewives were Librium and Valium, and she would literally take handfuls when she needed to. She wasn't a sort of steady...
You didn't know that. I mean, as a child, you don't know that. You just think, why were they being so cruel? What have I done? Children often blame themselves. Tell us about, like, your nighttime routine, going to bed.
Oh, that was awful. We were strapped into... She was always strapping us into buggies. We were always restrained. And at night time, she would use these sort of quite wide cotton or straps to strap us into the bed. I would hear William being strapped in, and then I knew that he was always strapped in. And you weren't allowed to get up to go to the loo? No.
So did you wet the bed?
Yes, it was her idea of training us that we had to go to the loo before we went to bed, so we didn't get up again.
So if you wet the bed, what happened?
We just lie in it.
Oh, it's awful.
It was cold as well.
You say it in the book as well, that sometimes it wasn't being hit that was so scary. It was like waiting. It was the waiting.
Yeah, what was the mood going to be?
It was like, I tried to describe it once. It was like, you know, if you've been for a walk in the woods and you get a bit lost, and it's that twilight feeling when it's going to get how do I get home? It was like that all the time. You were tense, and I used to read her face very, very carefully to see if she was going to go, because if she went, her face would change and her eyes would change, and then you knew that something might not happen.
Yeah, but it's the
anticipation.
You know, obviously, eventually you did leave. You married yourself, happy marriage, 2 children. When did she come back into your life, and when did you decide, I need to look after her now?
She never left my life, and this is a lot of people find this hard to believe. I left at 15. I had to go. It wasn't safe. It was wrong. I had to leave. But you're always looking for their approval. You're constantly seeking their acceptance. I wanted her to like me, so I would work quite hard at playing this role of a good daughter. I would invent the life. Oh, everything's fine, you know. I'm all happy. And how are you? And try and have regular contact. And I'd go and visit her quite a lot. And I'd always drive home crying because it was always quite negative.
You moved her to be nearer you, and you cared for her right up until her death. Did you ever get that approval? Did she ever say anything kind to you?
Did she ever say, I love you?
No. She never touched me either as a child. And it was interesting. When my son was little, he used to come with me to visit her, because she lived a few roads away. And I was cuddling him. And she said to me, you will ruin that child. And that was her mentality.
But then you discovered that she had been abused by her own father and become pregnant by him. So, I mean, she'd had a terrible, terrible childhood. And that's when you said, I understood rather than forgave her.
I realised that being angry and being resentful is a complete waste of time. It does you no good whatsoever. And actually, to give her some unconditional love, I realised that she'd never had it herself. So if I could just be there for her and do right by her, I could help her end her life.
Right, you're in a happy place now, though.
Yeah.
You've got your sons, you've got your book out.
Louise Allinson said you've got your book, Thrown Away Child. Has that been difficult to relive that, and has it helped you, just briefly?
My keyboard was soaking from my tears as I was trying to type up what happened. But yes, it's been good. It's made it definite. It's clarity and it's gone.
Yeah.
And I think you need to do that. You can't carry this huge stuff around with you. You have to let it go. So it's done that, which is good.
Is coming up to 10:20. Bonfire night is approaching. Many of us will, of course, be enjoying firework displays up and down the country.
But thousands of people go to A&E with firework-related injuries each year. Fireworks can pose a real risk to life when they aren't used properly.
Now, our next guest knows only too well about this after his elderly mum tragically died when 2 teenage boys threw a firework through her letterbox as a prank.
Alan Smith joins us now to share his story. Good morning, Alan.
Morning, Alan.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you very much. Can we go back to the night of the event and what happened exactly?
Yeah, so I was in bed waiting to get up for work the next day, and I got a knock on the door from my wife, Lisa. She said, "Al, your mum's house is on fire." And I literally dashed round, phoned my brothers and sisters and my daughters, and we all met round my mum's house, literally 100, 200 yards from where we live.
Because you all basically live in the same street. Your mum's Josephine, she was 88 years old.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, we all live within a few hundred yards. My older sister, Linda, she lives slightly further away, but she dashed down and we was all at the scene that evening, yeah.
By the time you got there, Alan, how bad was the fire?
It was smoke, mainly. It was just smouldering. The fire had been burning for a good hour and a half, or smouldering for a good hour and a half before we arrived. And we wasn't really aware of any fire at the time, apart from the fire brigade trying to break the door down. I just remember that I had my key in my hand for the door and thinking, if I'd got there 10 minutes earlier, maybe I could have opened the door rather than the fire brigade trying to smash the door in.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what had caused the fire? Let's go back to that. Because your mum didn't know the youths that put the fireworks through the letterbox. It was completely random.
Yeah, no, not at all. She had nobody had any malice against her at all.
No.
It was just 2 silly boys. I think they picked on a house that was blacked out,
Right.
and 2 silly boys just put a firework through a door. I think, to be fair, they thought they were just going to be causing mischief.
Yeah.
You know.
But mischief suddenly became tragedy.
Yeah.
She didn't have a smoke alarm, did she, as well? Which is one of the things that I'm sure you've all gone over in your heads.
Absolutely. The irony was that the last conversation I had with her, we were sitting there watching Tipping Point, ironically, and I was sorting out a house insurance just literally the day before, and my daughter Lucy said, "Gran, have you got any smoke alarms?" And I said, "No, I'll order you some on Amazon," and I was going to order them the next day. Yeah.
It's the circumstances around this, like you say, 2 lads that just wanted to cause mischief, and then it ends with the tragedy of you losing your mum through, smoke inhalation. There was some footage that was shown in the court case, which led to the 2 young men being charged with manslaughter. And it's quite disturbing, this footage, because what is apparent is that they had set about to try and cause some trouble with these fireworks. We're going to show you this footage from the shop of them buying the fireworks. It is not easy to watch, and certainly it can't be for you, Alan, but I think it's important to get some context of what is happening at this time of year with the young lads and young people who think they're just going to have a bit of fun, but how it can suddenly turn to tragedy. This is what happened.
No, I want something that's going to go firing quick. Well, this is going to go bang. I'm trying to get fireworks. I want to let some off at people. Light it and then destroy it, basically. Well, you can throw it, hold it, throw it, do your light with it. Well, ones are the good ones to let off at people. Then it's not going to do damage, but like... No one's going to do damage. I'm not going to tell you can let off at people. But they're going to fly off and they're going to go bang.
How do you feel watching that?
It makes me really angry.
Yeah.
It makes me really angry. The 2 lads that did what they did were just silly boys, but the guy in the footage there, Mark Vardy, he's got a suspended sentence for selling the fireworks. He was a grown adult, and he 40-odd years of experience apparently selling fireworks. And yet, for £8.99, that seemed to be more that's important to him than somebody's life,
Sorry, Kat. Or even saying, lads.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
These are dangerous items. They're not for shooting at people or causing mischief. If I'm hearing you're going to do something like that... Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, a guy with as much experience in selling fireworks as he had, he should have done it. He was a big guy. He was my size. He could have easily have got those boys out of that shop. But, he chose not to. And
think about the consequences of something.
Yeah,
to go
and
wrong.
as a family, I think it's that aspect of all of this that makes us more angry. You know,
Yes.
personally.
And the people supplying them need to take responsibility for it too. What would you like to see happen, Alan? How would you like to see the changes made?
I would like to see fireworks not be available on the high street anymore. I don't want to see a ban from fireworks. People enjoy fireworks, and I think they should be entitled to still. But you shouldn't be able to buy them so easily on the high street or in a supermarket. Maybe out-of-town shopping centres or certain outlets, specific outlets.
Specific suppliers.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. You shouldn't be able to go and buy a bag of chips, pint of milk, and a banger to go and kill somebody with.
No.
And one of the things that you've suggested as well, which is quite interesting, it would be interesting to get our viewers' thoughts on this, is a minimum spend.
Yeah, I mean, when I sorted this petition out initially, it was a bit impulsive. I was just trying to things that would stop something similar happening to somebody else at a minimum spend, so you couldn't buy individual fireworks anymore. So the idea being you could only buy display boxes, maybe, or something like that.
So minimum spend of about £50.
£50,
because
maybe.
then you know it's probably going to be a responsible adult because £50 is a significant amount of money.
In theory, and theoretically, you're not going to be able to buy. You're not going to go out and buy £50 worth of bangers that are going to go and do damage. You're going to be buying display fireworks that you can enjoy in the family, in the garden with your family.
Yeah.
That's the theory.
And then the age as well, you want to make it 21.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
You know, I have been talking about that, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. I changed it recently to maybe a compulsory challenge 25, so there was no doubt of anybody under 18 buying fireworks.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's sensible.
So if you appear to be under 25, you have to show some
You have to show to identify
you can
that
get
you
them if
are
you're
over
over
18.
18.
That would protect retailers and customers alike.
You've set up a petition.
I have.
To try and get as many signatures. What's the plan with the petition, Alan?
Get as many signatures as possible and then take it to Parliament is the plan.
And if you get to, how many do you need to get ideally?
Ideally over 100,000, I think, you know, but the more the merrier. So hopefully we can get some signatures from today. And
how many have you got so far?
57,000, I think, at the moment. But we got most of those in the first few weeks. So,
right.
You know, hopefully we'll gain some more momentum.
And where can people find the petition?
It's online.
Is it change.org?
Change.org,
Yeah.
Justice for Josephine. That's what I've set it up as. So there is a QR code and other things available.
Yeah.
But I'm on Facebook as well, Alan Smith on Facebook. So
It's not to stop people enjoying them, it's just for
No, absolutely
fireworks
not.
to be used responsibly and also for everybody to understand just how dangerous. I mean, even things
Absolutely.
like sparklers are 20 times hotter than boiling water.
Absolutely.
So everybody's just got to be very careful with them.
Yeah.
How are you all coping now without your mum, Alan?
It's coming up to the anniversary and it's very difficult. We're all struggling. Both my sisters, my wife, my kids, you know, my dad. We're all struggling. We're coping, but this time of year is very difficult for all of us.
I bet it is.
Yeah, it is.
It's very triggering as well with everybody going out because, like you say, you don't want families to stop enjoying this time of
No,
year.
not
But
at all.
the consequences if things go wrong can be tragic.
I see people messing around with fireworks. It makes me quite angry and I have to try and keep a lid on that.
What would you like to say to anybody who's planning or anybody who's got fireworks, as the parties are coming up?
I think the majority of people are safe and sensible. Just continue to be safe and sensible. Don't do anything silly, you know. Respect other people. Respect is a word that's missing from society these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just respect other people, you know. Don't, you know, you can't have animals being terrorised and people being terrorised by these things, you know. Just respect other people. It's not difficult, is it? Not a lot to ask.
No.
Alan, thank you for coming in and
That's
telling us a little
brilliant.
bit about your mum. I'm sorry for your loss, but hopefully, like you say, if enough people sign the petition and you can gather a little bit of information and momentum, it could change some of those, the reasons that happened in the first place.
Okay.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning. Now, as alleged cases of stalking and fixated behaviour continue to make headlines regarding public figures like Shirley Ballas and Emma Raducanu, today we hear from Debbie Waring, who had a chilling experience of her own.
Yeah, Debbie's next-door neighbour, someone she trusted, planted listening devices in her house to spy on her, leaving her feeling violated and, of course, unsafe. And she's here now to share her story. Debbie, thank you so much for coming in this morning. We're just watching a little bit of footage there, which essentially is how you caught him, sort of checking for the device. But let's go back, because that's almost the conclusion of your detective work that got to the end, rather than how this all started. What was your experience? How did you work out that something strange was happening?
Well, we'd been neighbours for 30 years, and then I met a new partner who lived in Nottingham, and I was living in Birmingham at the time. And I had 2 cats, so we used to alternate the weekends, and I'd ask William and his wife to feed the cats for me, which they agreed. I've never had any problems. They'd had keys for many, many years. The family had grown up. Their children played with my son. So it was like, I trusted them. I went out shopping with Tracy at times. So
your children had been friends as well?
Yes, for 20-odd years, and they'd grown up together.
And you never, ever suspected that something was off. How would you describe William if you had to describe him?
Quiet, meek. It was difficult to get a conversation out of him at times. He'd sort of say hello and he's like a little bit quiet.
Shy.
Yeah, shy, yeah.
Well, I wonder if that was now because he knew that he had these devices and you planted in your house.
Don't know. No idea at all. No idea. We'd invite them around to parties. We had a bonfire party. They'd come round. Children would play together.
And you had so up until the point where you suddenly discovered there was this strange device in your living room, you had no suspicion, no expectation, no idea that any of this was going on?
No, nothing at all.
So you were blissfully ignorant?
Absolutely. And we don't know how long the devices had been there either.
Well, I was going to ask, what was the catalyst for you even thinking... Because that wouldn't automatically come into your head at all. Oh, someone's put listening devices in my... So what was the catalyst for that for you? What made you think, oh, there's something weird going on here?
We found the device under the coffee table. Well, my partner found it
Just by accident?
Just by accident. And we thought it was something off my grandson's toys.
Right.
It's a very, very small, probably about 3 inches by an inch, little device with an on-off button on it. And when we checked on the internet what it was, we found out it was a listening device. So
and was there just that one?
No.
So once you found that and you realised this is somebody spying on me, did you then suddenly go into panic mode and start looking around the rest of the...
Massively, because initially I thought it was live recording, so they could listen live conversation.
Yeah.
But then when we checked, it was a recording device that recorded for 4 to 6 hours. So my partner said, if there's one, there's probably more. So we obviously had the pictures off the wall, had all the drawers out in the living room and the kitchen. And then he says, I think we need to check upstairs. And I went, oh, please, not upstairs. So we went upstairs and there's one behind the headboard as well.
Of your bed?
Of the bed.
How did you feel?
I was hysterical. I was absolutely hysterical. I just couldn't get my head around why somebody would want to do that at all. Initially, when I found the one downstairs, I says, I wonder if this is my son playing a bit of a joke. So I rang. I said, have you planted a listening device in my house? And he went, no, Mum, why would I do that? Why would I want to listen to your conversation?
And so when you found that, what did your brain do? Because you would go, oh, my goodness. So you went to your son, first of all, and thought maybe it's a bit of a joke or something like that.
For the one downstairs.
Yeah, but then where did your brain go to after that?
It had to be someone who got keys to my house. Because when I reported them to the police, because there was no sign of a break-in, they couldn't do anything for me. They says, there's no sign of a break-in. It's obviously somebody who's got access to your house. So the people who got access to the house was the neighbours and my son.
So it's your son and your neighbours. Your son's already said, Mum, it wasn't me. Why would I have done that? So then you immediately start thinking about your neighbours.
Neighbours, yeah. And even then, I just couldn't get my head around it, thinking, no, why would they? Why would they? So the next step for us then was to try and find out who it was. So this happened on I think it was the Saturday evening we found the device. And on the Sunday, my partner and I went to it was like an electronic shop and bought a small recording camera, and it looked like a little robot.
Right.
So I placed it in my grandson's toy box, and we set that up. So it recorded, and I could get it on my phone as well.
So you can watch it on your phone, and then you told your neighbours, weren't you, that you were going away for the night?
That's right. I told them I was going away for the night, and I told them I was only going for the one night, because normally I'd do a long weekend at my partner's. But I said, I'm only going up for one night. I'll be back early tomorrow morning, because I didn't want to give whoever it was a long opportunity to come in to get the devices, because they were stuck on with double-sided tape.
Right, and the tape had failed, which is why it dropped.
The tape had failed, and that's made us realise afterwards how many times it'd been used. So we don't think it was just a one-off.
No.
Because the stickiness of the tape had gone.
So it had been used over and over again?
Over and over again. And then it got to the stage where it just fell off the coffee table.
So you set your camera up, Debbie. You can watch it live.
Yeah.
Were you watching live when you saw him come in?
No. So I could watch it live, and it's also recorded as well onto like a CD card.
Right.
Yeah. So before I actually went up to my partner's on that Thursday evening, I'd had some new carpet upstairs. And when you vacuum new carpet...
Yeah, the pile's still strong, isn't it? Yeah.
So I vacuumed all the carpet.
A certain way.
A certain way, in the bedroom, the top of the stairs on the landing, and off I went. And then when I came back the following day, I'd been watching live and I couldn't see anything, so I thought I'm going to go through all the recording. And within 25 minutes of leaving the house, William had come into the house.
So what's this moment like then, Debbie, when you suddenly see your neighbour come in, checking for the device, and I assume panicking because it's not there?
Because it's not there. My initial device is busted. That's what I said, it's busted, I noticed. Rang my son, rang my partner, and told both of them who it was. My partner was obviously up in Nottingham, so he couldn't come down, but my son came round. So we said, I'm going to have to go and confront him. So we went round, and he opened the door, and we said, what are these? Don't know what you're talking about, they're not ours.
Just denied it?
Completely denied it. And I said, I've got footage of you in my house looking for these devices. No. And his wife said, maybe he was looking for the cats.
And so then what happened next? Did you take it to the police? What could they do? Anything?
I took it to the police, but before I took them to the police, I actually connected them to a laptop. And when you connect them to a laptop, you can actually get the conversations off. And there was a conversation on there between William, his wife, and his granddaughter. So that was the proof that they belonged to them.
On the listening device?
Because there was always that question, well, even though he's actually in the house, how do you know that's what he's looking for? You know, those questions were asked. But the fact that we got conversations off them...
you could prove it was them?
Could prove it was them.
So he ended up being found guilty?
He did. He initially denied it. This happened in the November. He was arrested in the December. He went to normal court, I think, around about April time, but then it went to Crown Court in the May, and he was convicted for 15 weeks.
Did you ever understand, did he ever explain why he did it?
No, never found out why. I don't know whether he admitted to his wife. I don't know whether he admitted to the police. I still don't know to this day whether there were any more devices. Because I moved.
Yeah.
I just felt I couldn't live there any longer. I mean, I was probably going to move up to Nottingham anyway.
Sure.
But it just pushed me on. I felt uncomfortable in my house. I was always looking out my window if I wanted to go out. Are they outside? Or I can't go out yet. Yeah. I didn't like putting my washing outside.
It's unnerving,
because it's
isn't it?
Unnerving, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was the footprints either side of the bed as well.
Yeah.
That we got. It'd been upstairs in the bedroom.
Well, look, Debbie did an incredible job to track him down.
Yeah, well done.
That guilt. Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
You're 25 years of age and you have spent having your lips plumped and various other things smoothed out to look like Kim. How much have you spent?
I've spent so far £130,000.
Over the course of what period of time?
Probably about 6 years, 7 years. It sort of started when I was 19, like I got my eyebrows tattooed on. And it just kind of went from there, really. Like, I was a student, so obviously this was before government made loads of cuts and I had, like, a lot of student loan. And, yeah, I started getting lip filler.
So you're using your student loan for that?
You see why the government was tempted, maybe, to curb those grants. Right from the start, was the plan to look like Kim Kardashian?
No, it wasn't. And obviously it's quite a hard thing to get rid of, that label. Like, people will shout at me in the street, oh my God, there's the Kim Kardashian guy. And I didn't obviously pay to look like him. Like, obviously, if I paid to look like her 130,000, I'd be getting my money back. I'd ask for a refund.
No, you're not far off.
Raymond.
No, I haven't seen your bottom yet, but no, the rest of it.
I'll show you later.
So it didn't start with just an obsession with Kim. That's evolved as this has gone on.
Yeah, it was, Kim started getting procedures on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and she started getting lip filler and things. But ever since a young age, I've always been, like, obsessed with, like, celebrity plastic surgery, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And I think when I originally did my story, which obviously got me all the TV work, got me noticed, They put the Kim Kardashian spin on it. Like, they said, who's your idol? And I said Kim Kardashian. So they obviously took it and ran with it.
Gotcha.
So tell me what you've had done, because obviously your lips, which we've seen there. So from head to toe, tell me what you've had done.
So I've had 2 nose jobs, I've had a chin implant, I've had neck liposuction, I've had my eyebrows tattooed on, I've had lip filler, I've had cheek filler, I've had smile line filler, jawline filler, I've had a non-surgical thread facelift, I have a full face of Botox. Vampire facials, I have regular Nitox vampire treatments. Just so you showed it on the show earlier, you know the micro needling? Yeah. It's similar to that, but it's a lot more invasive and a lot more deeper, and you get a better result out of it. And I'm just so lucky. The lady who was doing that, Maxine McCarthy, she's took me on board, and her team, they've really helped me, you know, you don't need all of this, you don't need the big lips. So she was the one that convinced me to go smaller. So what now then? Does that mean you've stopped, or you want some of it reversed? I'm just going a bit more au naturel now. Like, I just think I get a bit bored. So, like, I have things done and then I get, like, an initial buzz and then the buzz goes and it's kind of like, oh.
Would you not sort of think, over 5 or 6 years, you've spent £130,000, would you not, like, sort of think, I could have had an Aston Martin for that? Do you not have other ambitions, you know?
Yeah, but I just think to myself, what's the point with an ugly, old-looking face getting out of an Aston? You'd rather, like, a good-looking face getting out of a banger.
Yeah.
It's just, I love it, you know, and I've always paid for it myself, and that's one thing that I stress, because whenever, like, I see news articles, people are always like, oh, he's a drain on the NHS, but I've never had anything done on the NHS.
No, of course not.
Ever. I've always paid for it myself.
Again, do you not sit sometimes and wonder who the real you is? Do you wonder, have you any idea what you would look like if you hadn't had all this done? Do you not pine for what... I mean, there you were. This is a younger you.
Oh, my God, that's awful.
Do you hate that? What do you...
I don't hate it. That's me and my mum on my graduation. I don't hate it. Like, I don't know. I never hated myself, and that's the thing. At that time, I never looked in the mirror and thought, oh, my God, I hate myself. I hate it. I've grown and I've had things done, and it's just part of... It's a hobby for me. I love getting it done. It's not...
But then where do you stop, Jordan? Where do you stop? What have you got other plans now?
Yeah, I've got some more stuff planned. I'm going to have another nose job in October. Just to make my nose a bit smaller. Like, I'm not 100% happy with it. And I just think, you know, I don't think I ever will be, like, 100% happy with my nose. Like, that's always been my hang-up with my body. I've always hated my nose ever since I was younger. I had a big nose. And even after nose jobs, I'm still not really 100%.
Well, could I say your complexion is amazing?
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely incredible.
You think that's those treatments?
Definitely. I mean, I always had good skin before. I mean, she's got good skin, obviously Kim. She has the vampire treatment. But the Nitox definitely helps. I've just noticed I never get breakouts, I never get spots.
No, you look great. And what about when you're going around Manchester? What's the reaction from people?
You know, it's really positive. Like, obviously on social media, like, you guys have probably seen, somebody tagged me in this morning on Facebook and they were like, look what people are saying, and it obviously doesn't bother me. But in real life, people are so positive. It doesn't, honestly, it does not faze me.
And what about your mum? What about your mum who gave birth to you?
My mum, you know what, I love my mum so much, and we're so close, like, we're such a close-knit family. My mum doesn't always agree with everything I have done. She doesn't think that I need it. She doesn't really, she's not 100% on me doing TV work. She doesn't really like that. But she loves me, and she supports me anyway.
Well, that's pretty. It's fascinating talking to you, Kim. I mean, Jordan. Sorry. But
for more of the same, just click here. And don't forget, you can subscribe for even more of these amazing videos exclusive to our channel. Where did you have implants apart from your breasts?
Face, breasts, everything. You name it, I had implants. And in areas you wouldn't even dream of having implants.
Like what? Like your bottom?
Bottom, hips, just everywhere.
Everywhere?
Yeah.
So they've all
Cheeks,
been...
chin.
Really?
I went to the doctors to get a second opinion because they just put it down to asthma, and then that's when they realised I'd got a disease called sarcoidosis.
Right, OK.
And they said I'd be in a wheelchair by the age of 40.
And you just couldn't imagine that that was ever going to be a possibility?
No.
But they were right.
Yeah, but by 43 I was in a wheelchair, practically bedbound.
Yeah.
What was the prognosis? What did they say? How long had you got?
First of all, they said it'd be probably about 18 months, but then I developed pulmonary hypertension and my heart started to deteriorate as well, so I went rapidly downhill after that, and they said I probably wouldn't live till Christmas that year.
But you couldn't, you could hardly speak, you'd no breath to speak?
No, not at all, no. I was probably about 5 stone. I couldn't hardly eat anything, I couldn't even clean my teeth, never mind do anything else.
And then you had to tell your 10-year-old daughter that you were probably going to leave her.
Yeah, that I was going to die. Yes.
Can't imagine that.
How hard is that?
Oh, it was probably one of the hardest conversations I've had to have. You know, to explain to her that she was going to live in Australia with my friends.
Yeah.
And she couldn't really grasp it, you know, and I couldn't either because I can't even tell you how hard it was.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. A thing of nightmares. And then this miracle of life, really, the phone call that you get to say that there is a transplant available for you. When you got that phone call, it was a lifeline.
It was. I didn't quite believe it. Even when I was travelling up to Newcastle, ready for my transplant, it was like I was in a dream. You know, I just felt like it wasn't gonna happen. You know, and I mean, obviously it did happen. And then when I woke up, I was trying to change my Hickman line that I'd got, and they was like, no, you can breathe now. But I was still breathing like I wasn't able to breathe.
Well, you were frightened you were going to break them, weren't you?
Yeah, I kept saying I don't want to breathe properly because I might break them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
No, it's an unusual thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
For your joy and transformation, and as Holly said, there is always this other side, this tragic side that for you to gain, someone has to lose.
Yeah.
So tell me about Rona. What sort of a woman was she? If we'd met her, what would she have been like?
Oh,
Rona's
a lot like Lisa.
Really?
Apparently, yeah.
Fun loving, yeah.
They don't look like each other, but yeah, their mannerisms and things
that
are
right?
so alike. Yep.
And so did you know that she'd put herself on the donor list?
No.
No. The hospital informed us that she was on the donor list. And would we like to go along with her wishes? And there's no way we were going to go against her wishes at that time. So we signed the necessary papers and and the rest is history, so to speak.
It's a lot to deal with at that time to be asked something like that as a parent, because she'd just given birth to her second child, and then she'd been having problems, sort of headaches and neck pain.
Yeah, she took a neck pain, but when I went to visit her in Boxing Day in the hospital, she thought it was just a draft she had caught.
Right.
So then she got home that night and we'd got her, creams and things like that. But then on the 1st of January, about tea time, she had to go up to the hospital, and that is where she collapsed, really.
And she had a brain
or a bleed to the brain,
Yeah.
And they put her in induced coma and then rushed her through to the Western General in Edinburgh, operated on her, but they just couldn't stop the bleed.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry.
That's a terrible thing to happen.
And so because she was on that list and because you had agreed to go with her wishes, tough as that must be, I'm sure, she helped 3 women with her liver and a kidney and her pancreas, and a man with her other kidney, and her heart valves were stored. And so she's brought life and will bring life to countless people. And of course, Lisa sitting here is one of them. And so you then begin your recovery and you're trying to get through the grieving process. At what point did you decide you wanted to reach out and talk to them?
I think it was about 6 months after I'd had my transplant. I wanted to write them a letter just to say, well, thank you is not a big enough word, really. But you kind of never know when's the right time and when's the wrong time. So I wrote them a letter, and Jane actually replied back quite quickly. And then it was about a year later I wrote my second letter, and then that's when I got a phone call saying that they wanted direct contact.
And you did meet up, and you were quite nervous because you were thinking, oh my gosh, the pressure on me, because are they going to like me? Are they going to feel happy? What a pressure. I mean, that really is. But very emotional for both of you, especially for you. And that moment when she saw you and you hugged and you touched her chest, didn't you? Because you just wanted to feel those breathing lungs again.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
I didn't want to let her go.
No. Yeah. You hugged for ages.
I'm never going to go.
Yeah.
I felt free. I didn't want to let her go.
Yeah.
And what's lovely, as Holly said then, is that that there was this instant bond.
Instant. I just loved her.
Yeah, same here.
Which is why when lovely Jim proposes, and you sadly lost your dad.
Yeah, my dad died of lung cancer when he was 43.
Right.
So he was very young when he died, yeah.
And so you asked whether or not John would walk you down the aisle.
I did, yeah. Yeah.
What did you think when she asked you?
The first reaction was shock, and then the more I thought about it, I thought what an honour that would be. At this stage, unbeknown to Lisa, it was one of Rona's wishes that I walked her down the aisle when the day came, and it was a bit surreal at that stage.